everyone, so I'm here today to give my January update for my Pan That Palette project for 2021. This year I am doing the Pan That Palette collaboration with the PANtastic ladies, and the theme this year is tiny pans. So I'm panning the palette with the smallest pans in my collection. Just before I get into the update, if you can hear running and screaming and hitting, my neighbors are playing street cricket outside, so that's what that noise is. Hopefully it's not too distracting. I'll also be updating you in this video about my baby Pan That palette, which is a project that I think was started by Paula from A Beauty Guru Made Me Buy It, and that's when you pick a tiny palette from your collection to finish in a year, so I have a quad. And then I'm also going to update you on my Pan That face palette, which is, as you would imagine, panning a face palette in a year. For my Pan That palette this year, I am panning the Anastasia Beverly Hills Norvina palette, so I'll just show you a little screenshot of where I was at last month. So now, halfway through February, this is the progress that I have made. So my goal for January was to hit pan in the shade Summer. As you can see, I have definitely done that. I'm starting to kind of clear out the edge here and trying to hit side pan, but it is a little bit difficult to pick up such a crumbly formula in the corners. I also wanted to finish Incense, which at the beginning of January, I just had the top side pan, I think, and I still had both of the corners and the top, which I have since cleared out, but I obviously haven't finished it. I probably have about a third of that shadow left. I also wanted to see if I could hit pan in Dreamer, the shade up here. I haven't managed to do that, but I am quite close, and I wouldn't be surprised if I hit pan in that this week probably. That's the shadow that I use as an inner corner highlight. Some surprises though is I actually hit pan in the shade Base this morning. There's like two little baby pans, if you can see those glimmering there. I also hit pan in Love. This I wasn't so surprised about because I knew that I was about one use away from hitting pan in that, and so I just used it once throughout the month of January and managed to hit pan. Other than that kind of progress that I've made, I've also been using these two Eccentric and Passion as my outer corner shades. I'm using Eccentric today, so there is a little bit of some movement or disturbance on the pan for those, but nowhere near forming a real dip at all. But mostly I'm just really happy to have such significant pan on the shade Summer. So that is my progress for the first month and a half really of Pan That palette. My goals for the rest of February aren't that grand. I'd like to hit side pan in Summer and hit pan in Dreamer. Those are perfectly doable. I know I'll be able to do those in the next 2 weeks. And then when we come back for the end of February update in 2 weeks, we'll see how I'm going and what I can probably accomplish in March. Next is my baby Pan That palette, and that is a little quad that I made from Surat Beauty. I'll show you here where I was at the introduction in January. And this is what the palette looks like now. Not a whole lot of change in this one. The main difference will be that I did use this a few times as a face highlighter, so there is a little bit of debris around the pan, but I also expanded the pan in the middle a little bit as well. I don't know if that will be noticeable in the photos, but other than that, I don't think I really touched these shades in January. I am mostly focusing on finishing up the Norvina palette first, and then I'll work on this one. These pans are a lot bigger than the Anastasia pans are, and it would be great to be able to finish the Anastasia. So that's my priority, but I know certainly when I start finishing up the crease shades in the Norvina palette, then I will be reaching into this one, especially to use this shade here. And then lastly for this update, I have my face palette. This is the Stila Field of Florals Convertible Color Dual Lip and Cheek palette, and I'll show you where I was at the introduction here. And this is where I am now. So I've been primarily working on this shade here, which is the shade Gladiola, and as you can see, I've definitely cleared a lot of that out. I will be able to finish that one probably in the next 2 weeks or so, I'd say. There's very little product there. There's almost none at this top pan here, so I would really like to finish that in the remaining weeks of February. And then the next ones I'll probably start working on are these two here in the middle. So that's Peach Blossom and Petunia. Those are the next two I'd be working on. Neither of them have pan, but I should be able to make some significant dents in those in the next 2 weeks, I think, but probably more so in March. So there you go, that is my update for my 3 Pan That palettes this year. I am really happy with the progress that I made in the past 6 or so weeks. I definitely could be making more progress on the Surat quad, but like I said, my priority is the Anastasia palette, especially until I've cleared out my kind of staple shades from that palette. I am definitely the type of person who, even after only 6 weeks, I'm starting to doubt whether I'll be able to finish all these products by the end of the year, but I'm not letting go of hope. I do really want to push through and maintain my motivation and certainly bring you a lot more progress, if not in the next 2 weeks by my February update, at least by the end of the first quarter at the end of March. Please let me know what you're panning for 2021 and if you're using any of the Pan That palette kind of prompts. I'd love to know. I know a lot of people are doing those eyeshadow projects, which is less about one individual palette and more just kind of hitting pan in a lot of singles or in a lot of palettes. I'll have all the links down below in the description box for the PANtastic ladies, including a link to the creator of this project, Sarah, all the collaborators who are joining in, and a link to our Facebook group if you would like to join in some of the collaborations this year as well. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Bye!